defining headlines. I think it's you do a super good job that and giving lots of white space. It's just super clear what you do and also your location statement where you do it. And so and I imagine these are they're I know that they're you had asked about the kind of keyword density about how many you can put in there. I could see adding the word Alaska to each one of these. I know you'd have to make
Mm,
these a little smaller, but they're at the top of the page. They're probably an H tag, right? And which is a headline tag for people who don't know it,
yes.
and it gives greater relevance to the search engines. What the heck? Exclusive smaller tours. Well, that's in Alaska and Alaska cruise transfers. It's something
Hmm.
you might want to consider, but I think you're fine. It's clean, it's nice. I had a question about Anchorage, Seward, these places here. These are the regions you do it. Is it possible to tie in these regions to specific tours? Like, is there a particular tour that you do in Fairbanks that correlates with one of these down here?
No, truly, our trips are mostly multi-days, and they cover all of these regions.
Gotcha.
Almost every tour covers um, the majority of the regions. There are a few tours that might not go all the way up to Fairbanks, but typically Anchorage to Denali National Park is covered in every one of our
Okay.
tours.
Well, I would suggest that possibly you look at doing something that. So what I'm hearing is kind of the best of Alaska in these areas, and I was unaware that your tours typically covered that. What if you could say the best of Alaska, or almost done with parentheses, some way to communicate just what you said. Um, Most of our tours cover the majority of these areas. And I'm not really sure how to language it, but I'd want it to be um, kind of the best of Alaska, colon, Anchorage, Seward, Kenai Fords, to help people be thinking that it's not, you're just not going to any one of these things. See the best of
I
Alaska.
was just thinking that very word. Great minds think alike. Okay. See
Cool.
the best of Alaska, and then the towns.
Yeah, I think that's going to help tie it together. Okay, so a couple other things I want to look at on. Um, Now we're going to look at descriptive text, and then I want to look at some links and layout stuff here. Now you've done a pretty good job at. Let me rephrase that. You've done a great job at having very clear descriptive text. How long you do it. They're all inclusive, multi-sport, and the bullets. It's clean, and this whole thing about that you're not, groups of 23 or less. Um, um, that's really nice, and I like the fact that it's near the top of the page, and people are going to see that clear and easy. Um, then below here, you've got some more of your links to specific trips. Um, I'm looking at this. One of the things that I thought you might want to consider, because what we're wanting to do is people are coming to the website and they may have an idea of something they've dreamed about doing. So there might be some aspect of one of I'm going to use these 8 pictures and these 8 trips. There might be, what do you think would be safe to say that some people tend to resonate towards a particular trip or two that they've kind of dreamt about that?
Yes.
Okay, so we want to take them down that path as easy as possible. You have trips that correspond that are include these elements. You have trips that correspond with every one of these pictures, right?
Correct.
So right now, when you click on the picture, you're getting the picture. I think you'd be much better off
Yeah.
making this a link to wildlife towers. Every one of these actually, because people, we're now becoming more graphic oriented, and buttons our pictures are being used as buttons much more frequently, and I'd like to see that. So if someone said, wow, I'm interested in bear tours or wildlife tour, they click on that and boom, it takes them immediately to the wildlife tour page. The more places that you can kind of help funnel people down to what it is that they're wanting to see and learn about, the closer they're going to get to picking up the phone or emailing you because they found what they wanted really fast and easy.
I started to do that. If you notice the Denali tours, the word is a link
Right.
that takes you to a tour of Denali. But just the words are a link. So I guess, because I made all of the images a thumbnail to go to a bigger image so that people could see. Like on the sled dog kennel ride, you can't see that those people are laughing. So if you click on it, it's a little bit bigger and you can see the smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I did that. And then my thought was the words underneath the actual image to make them a link. And as you see, I've only gotten as far as Denali tours. But so you think that the image itself should be the link?
I would do a combination of several things. One, make the text links, because some people are going to gravitate to that, and it also helps with the architecture of your site and keywords being linked, so that's helpful. I'd make the pictures links to those same pages too. And third, I agree that certain pictures are not going to be great representations, but when they get to those pages, let's say we get to the sled dog kennel ride, that's where you would have a video of people going by that shows the happy faces, and you can hear them, and you can hear the dogs barking. I mean, you could have all this action and I'd have that detail on the sled dog kennel ride page.
Okay.
That would be the way I go. I agree. I like this picture, the Alaska Salmon Fish and the Family Adventure Tour picture better for people because it's closer up. But it's not that these pictures are bad, but mostly it's about usability and getting your visitors to the information they want and need the fastest and the easiest. That's the name of the game here. So because that moves them down the funnel to getting to off their fannies and calling and emailing you. So that's what I would do there. One of the things that I was looking at, just in general, you do this site yourself, correct?
Yeah, I do.
And it's evolved over the years.
Yes.
What would you say if you were to change one thing, or if you were to remove something to make this thing, the site, because there's a lot of activity here. If you were to remove something or make it cleaner, what would that be?
Oh, gosh. To me, it's the links on the left and the side. I kind of like my top. As far as I've used a lot of the help you've given with my, defining statements. I remember the first time I built this page and all the things that I was missing. It was rather comical now that I think back on it. I have my call to action at the top. That was something that I noticed in a lot of sites. They've got good ranks, good sites, but it's not easy to get in touch with the person. And I thought that was really important. And I wanted people to know that they could call and speak to an Alaskan guide. There were so many sites that I looked at out there that they had no call to action. They didn't prompt the visitor to take the next step.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, having that up top. The other stuff from about, on the left, the links for details, those are, those links can be found on other places on this page. And I guess they were just listed there for, more ways to find their way to those places. People do read left to right, just the top. Some people read more. Some people, like me, I kind of like skim over stuff. And so it might not hit me in the first place. So I look for it to hit me in the second place. But those links are kind of, I don't want to put maybe secondary to, but I wanted the information to be there where for the person who only goes to the home page, who doesn't go deeper, can get some idea. So, it started looking maybe a little bit busy to me, but so I guess that's my main question. Does it seem too busy for the person to where they can't focus and get the information that they need to get? Should I simplify it? It's hard for me to put just one picture up there because there is no one picture that represents everything we do. There's probably about 50 pictures to represent everything we do. So I tried to pick the ones that stood out as highlights from my clients, that they said these were the highlights of their trip, the things that they did, and put those pictures at top. So, those are, I guess, if there was one thing I have to change, it's actually really in the technical working of it, as far as cleaning up how I built the site, as far as using style sheets and that sort of thing. But I'm always open for constructive criticism.
Well, thinking in terms of the Google model and how simple and clean it is, and that more and more people are kind of, that seems to be more of the style, and just simple and clean, and is better. I do like the pictures, and I think especially when you tie in pictures to the trips, and then have the text below that is also a link to, so it's really clear. And like you said, you've got many more pictures that represent either additional tours or at different aspects of the same tour. I don't see any reason why you couldn't add another row of pictures, or even down here to represent some other tours, so that you've got this big block of pictures and text, that so that if someone's interested in that sort of thing, boom, they can go right to it. This over here, what I thought was, this is when you've got bulleted text that's left justified. This is really clean. This looks a little confusing here. Not only is it center justified, but you've got different font sizes. What if this were left justified and all the same size? And maybe links for details was big and bold, and these were smaller, that kind of, so that they understand that, click here for details on each tour or something. And then Alaska bear viewing trip, to me, isn't that part of a detail page for wildlife viewing trips for Alaska bear viewing?
It is. There are a couple of special trips that would be tied in with the wildlife viewing tours. Yes. I'm
thinking so wildlife. You could have a subsection. You could have like a thing that says wildlife tours, and then like below that is a link or two that goes to specific trips and details. You could have your cruise ship transfer and transportation. If you can put more than 2 different links or different pages under a subcategory, then people could find what they're looking for. If you could list, family adventure tours was a headline, and below that, clean and you had 2 or 3 links that went to elements that were relative to family adventure tours, even if it was a different component of the page. You could have a 1-day family adventure tour, a 2-day family adventure tour, a teenage adventure tour, and a way for you to, so that if that's what they're really looking for, they can really laser in on what they're looking for fast and easy.
Good. I'm writing.
And you're of course going to get a copy of this video, so you'll be able to review it again and again for your learning pleasure.